One of the biggest questions that we're wrestling with in our day is the question of what is reality? What is the nature of this reality in which we find ourselves? Who says? And how do we know? On one side of that question, we've got those who advocate for something called simulation theory. Now, the scientists and philosophers who advocate for that position believe that the world in which we live is actually a holographic simulation. It's not real. It may seem material and physical, but it's actually a digital construct. Think the Matrix or the holograph and the holodeck in Star Trek. So that position says that we don't live in a real world. But that begs the question, doesn't it? If it is a digital simulation of some sense, if it is a construct or a hologram, then who designed it? What is the true nature of reality that stands behind the simulation? Who designed that simulation and for what purpose? What are we doing in this virtual reality that we find ourselves and through which we experience life? So that's one part of the equation. Then we have the very real technology of virtual reality, don't we? Where companies like the metaverse and those sorts of things are asking us, encouraging us to engage in digital realities through putting on virtual reality headsets and stepping into a digital world, living a digital life. Then you add to that the technology that's being developed by the likes of Elon Musk and his Neuralink technology, where there's a brain wireless computer interface. And that's before we start even talking about AI, isn't it? I mean, how do we know what's real when we can't believe what we see or hear anymore? I mean, all of these are very challenging questions, and they're only going to intensify as the technology and its affordability and accessibility increases and becomes more available to us. Then there's another part of the equation as well, isn't there, where there are certain people who are pursuing experiences through the use of psychedelic drugs such as DMT. And these people claim that they use such drugs to enter into another dimension. And they come back from this experience claiming to have met otherworldly beings. And so again, this challenges our view of reality. So whether it's through technology or through science and philosophy or through psychedelic drugs, our understanding of reality at its foundation is fundamentally being challenged. And that, I think, is quite unnerving. So what does the Christian faith have to say about this? Well, actually, I think the Christian faith has something really encouraging, quite exciting, and rather beautiful to say about the nature of reality as it actually is. You see, fundamentally for the Christian faith, reality is relational. The undergirding all of reality is relationship. I think that's something that we all relate to, strangely enough, and we all deeply desire. And I think that our desire for that is met through the Christian faith. So how is reality relational in the Christian faith? Well, we think about one of the most famous passages of Scripture, John chapter 1, where it says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were created through Him, and nothing that has been created was created without Him." I think this gives us a wonderful foundation, a platform out from which to move in our thinking. You see, right there in that opening stanza of John's Gospel, we see a relationship between the Word and God, the Word who is both with God and who is God, the one who is the same as God and at the beginning was with God. So without getting into the depths of Trinitarian theology, there is an I-you relationship at the very core of who God is. That there is a relationship that stands at the very foundation of all reality. And that relationship is a very particular kind of relationship. It's a relationship marked by a particular quality and character. It's the quality and character of love. The Father and the Son love one another. The Father, the Son, and the Spirit love one another. And we see that right through Scripture. That Jesus prays to the Father, asking that his followers would love each other as the Father and the Son love each other, as the Father loves him. And so we find at the very core of reality is a relationship of persons who love each other. So for the Christian faith, reality is relational. There is an eternal relationship at the core of who God is, which means that there's eternal love at the very foundation of reality, because before our universe comes to exist, before anything was created, there is a loving relationship of persons. Reality is relational, rather. Community is central, and love is eternal. There is love at the foundation of the Christian faith. And so when all else passes away, love and relationship will remain. I think that's astounding. And I think that's incredibly beautiful. It's what Paul tells us and drives us towards in 1 Corinthians 13, which is so often quoted at weddings, the love chapter. These three shall remain: faith, hope, and love, and the greatest of these is love. You see, the great call of the Christian faith, the great desire isn't so much to go to heaven, as wonderful as that concept might be, but the great concept of the Christian faith is that we come into a relationship with the God who made us, and we come into a loving relationship with the God for whom we were made. Paul says in that chapter, we see through a glass darkly, but when the perfect comes, we will see clearly, and we will know him even as we are known. The greatest desire of the human heart is to know and be known, to love and to be loved. The Christian faith tells us that all of reality is relational at its core because it was created by the relational God who exists as an eternal loving relationship. We have been made for loving relationship, and the end goal of all reality, the purpose for which we exist, is to live, to share in, and to enjoy that loving relationship with God and with each other forever. I think it's a vision worth pursuing. It's a vision of reality that's worth living. And I find it ultimately satisfying in a way that nothing else is. If you want love to be eternal, the Christian faith is the only game in town. There are no competitors. Just a thought.